this quote-unquote transfer was done by a computer algorithm that linearly transferred. What that means, it transferred votes in a proportional basis. For example, the more votes got transferred from Trump to Biden, interestingly enough, as you went to precincts that increased in Republicanism, which means there were more Republicans in that precinct. So basically, and we'll show you, so the vote transfer really occurs more in Republican-based precincts and less in non-Republican-based precincts. Okay?
888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243. ReliefFactor.com studio. I am Larry Elder. That is my guest, Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. Holds 4 degrees from MIT, including a PhD in biological engineering. Doctor, you were just explaining to us why you're so confident that these 4 counties, there was some funny business going on.
Yeah, but Larry, math is math is math. And this is actually quite simple math. Mm-hmm. Because what you notice is in those curves that you were, the explanation you were just sharing, as you move into the more and more of those Republican precincts, you see greater and greater amount of Trump votes being transferred to Biden. So it's it's very interesting. It's not, if you listen to someone like Mitt Romney who would say, oh, Trump is just not liked by Republicans, you would just see across all precincts, let's say 10, 20% drop. You follow what I'm saying? But you don't see that. What you see is this little diagonal curve, almost an inverse hockey stick, right? The hockey stick is flipped down. So what that means is as you go into more Republican precincts, you see greater and greater losses to Trump's votes being transferred to Biden. And that hockey stick, it's a nice diagonal line, which is a beautiful line because it's a slope that is not varying. And that is not something that you see in nature. The probability of that, is very, very, very low. Mm-hmm. And we do know, Larry, that in these systems, they added what I said, that weighted race feature. It's a documented feature. The question is, why is even such a feature in there? Why do they have a feature where you can multiply one person's votes by X and multiply another person's votes by Y? It should be one person, one vote. So this is an embedded feature into the technology. It's an embedded feature that allows for fraud. And what's fascinating is the explanation for this feature was this feature was apparently designed for housing associations, Larry, where let's say you and I lived in the same condo. You had 2,000 square feet, I had 1,000 square feet, and we were voting on some condo issue. You got 2 votes to my 1 vote, a weighted race feature. But there's no reason that kind of feature should be in our electronic voting systems. So that's where you have it. There's a capability to do this. We just started the beginning of this analysis, which clearly shows this quote-unquote anomaly of transfer of votes. And we're going to be continuing this research. There's some very, very interesting questions that this brings up. Did the members of the establishment parties know about this feature? How long has this feature been in there? And so on. So we're fascinated by this, but clearly at the 3 counties that we looked at, it's clear this weighted race feature, this transfer of votes took place. And what's fascinating, Larry, is if you look at Wayne County, predominantly African-American, you actually see that the president was actually doing 10% better than Republicans. Mm-hmm. You see? He was actually better. And the line is a flat line. It doesn't change. So the algorithm, as I say, was not turned on in those communities, primarily Democrat communities or African-American minority communities, and he was actually doing quite well there.
Doctor, are you familiar with the argument made by people like General Thomas McInerney that there is a software that was developed by the CIA and by the defense establishment, and that software was used by Joe Biden to literally switch votes from Trump to Biden?
I've heard of that. Look, this concept has been talked about many, many years ago by a woman called Bev Harris. She brought this up earlier on. She did a lot of work, didn't get a lot of credit for this. She was one of the early people to go do FOIAs and get this kind of information. And what's important to understand is that capability, frankly, is quite easy to do. And when any software engineer that I talk to, and I've been programming software since I was 14 years old, when you look at the fact that a gentleman, a computer programmer by the name of Benny Smith identified that the votes are actually stored not as an integer or whole number, they're stored as fractions. So if you got 1,000 votes, Larry, it's not stored as 1,000. It's stored as 1000.125. So why are our votes being stored as decimal numbers? And if you tell this to any engineer, that's when they say, oh, my God, something's terribly wrong. So, yes. So whether it's the CIA program, whether it's the original Diebold systems of 2002, which was, the Diebold company, which was in financial accounting, they're the ones who created the early voting system software. They're storing our votes as decimal numbers. They have the ability to multiply our votes by a factor. So it's quite alarming, to say the least.
Doctor has.
When I look at this as a technologist, we should all be moving back to hand-counted votes, period. You cannot trust these voting systems. I love technology. I'm sure you do. But given where we are with freedom and the fact that a few companies control this technology, it frankly makes no sense to trust our democracy to these electronic.
Doctor, we just have a few seconds left. Have you been in touch with the Trump administration or vice versa?
All I can say is yes, but I can't speak more to that than that.
Doctor, thank you very much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Be well. Bye-bye.